Hello once again. So I've been sent a test kit to test a brain head gasket. So this was supplied by Liquid Intelligence directly. So I'm doing this clip basically giving you an idea of how it works. Now it says a super sensitive blown head gasket kit. So if you get the smallest leak in your head gasket, it's going to find it through the reservoir or through the radiator, whichever you have. Now what comes in the kit is this little reservoir here that you'll put this fluid into, and two different styles of plugs that go in the top of the radiator or your reservoir. That's a pretty tight fit. So what we're doing is a cold test today, and tomorrow I'll follow up with a hot test. So basically what happens is if the leak is really small, it may not open up enough to reveal itself when the engine is cold. So I'm going to go from cold right now. I haven't started the car for a couple of days because I've been doing other things. So it's just dead cold. I'm going to put this in the reservoir, and we're going to make sure that I don't have a blown head gasket. Now, the steps to follow is, first of all, your coolant level has to be below the level of where this can go in. So it says in the directions, the level's got to be about that low. And I have no problems with that. See, my problem is I'm losing coolant all the time. I'll top it up over a period of about a month. I've got to top it up again. I don't know why. I haven't overheated ever since I've done the flush with Liquid Intelligence and put Liquid Intelligence coolant in. In fact, my coolant is normally about 89 degrees now instead of 99 to 110. So fantastic. I'm going up and down the hills, no more pulling over for overheating. But I'm still losing coolant over a period of time, and I don't know why. Now, this engine is 22 years old, never had a head gasket problem. In saying that, I have towed other cars and I've cooked the motor a couple of times. Temperature's gone right up, I've pulled over, had to let it cool down, and I've given this engine hell. But still, the car starts every day, first go, never given me grief. So it's been fantastic. Anyway, what we want to do is make sure that the level is below this. So it comes with a quick manual and a bit of a read on what to do. Basic steps here: put the fluid into the reservoir, put it into your radiator, start the car, let it warm up, and if it becomes yellow, you have a problem. If it stays red, you don't. Couldn't get much more simpler than that, eh? Anybody could do this. So right here it tells you what to do. First test method. So you're going to do a cold test, and then we're going to do a hot test. Open the radiator cap after the vehicle has cooled. Determine whether there is sufficient airspace in the top of the radiator, which obviously, yes, cooled, definitely sufficient space because I'm low on coolant. So yes and yes, because the car's been sitting for a couple of days, so she's cold, and I'm pretty low on the coolant level in the reservoir, so no problems there. The coolant level needs to be approximately 25 mil below the radiator cap. That's so when the coolant is bubbling up, it's not bubbling up and getting on here and then you're getting fluid from the coolant into the reservoir here. You just want the gases coming up. Okay, so I'll leave a link to the website so you can have a better read of this, and I'll get into it. So first of all, I want to get the cap off. Get other things out of the way. We're going to put this fluid in. There's a line on the reservoir here, so we fill it up to there. Like so. We'll put that in the reservoir. Nice and tight. Okay. Put this little cap back on. Like so. So this next part is, I'll start the car, and I'll first leave it on with you guys to see, and then I'm just going to warm the car up. I'll stop the video for a minute, warm the car up, and we'll see where we're at.
Okay, so I didn't know that the idle of the engine was overpowering my Bluetooth microphone, so I'm going to have to voice over from this point on. So I let the car warm up to a normal running temperature. I got up to 80 degrees and the cooling fans cut in and it wasn't going past 80 degrees. I know it goes past that when I'm driving under load, but just sitting there idle, it was staying under 80 degrees. So at that point, I turned the engine off. Well, you can see through this that there's bubbles coming out now. The water's obviously getting hot and it's causing whatever air in the system to expand. So it's pushing air out. Now, I don't know if I've got an air pocket or something, but the problem I have with my reservoir is that when you first start the car, I'll get a warning light saying that I need to add coolant to the reservoir. So that's okay. After about a 5-minute drive, that light goes off because the coolant has expanded, or there's an air pocket or something that's expanded, has pushed the coolant up to its right level, and the light goes off and you don't think any more about it. I am aware of the problems that my car have, so I know that once a month I've got to add about 200 mil to the reservoir. That's no big deal. My thing is, I want to know why I'm losing coolant. I can overcome it by putting a Coke bottle at the end of the reservoir so it catches any water that comes out, and then as the engine cools down, it sucks it back in. I used to have that, but when I put the new exhaust headers in, I forgot to put the Coke bottle back, so I will put that back. But more, I want to know why I'm having this problem. And because Liquid Intelligence were so kind to send me out the product, just because I wanted to test it, and it's good to have around anyway. I thought I'd test my own car to see if I do have a head gasket problem. And it doesn't look like I do, but I've got to do a hot test now. And then once we finish with that, we can finish up with knowing if I have a head gasket problem or not. I'd like to mention a few other products that I've used of Liquid Intelligence. First of all, the head gasket repair. I've used it in multiple cars, and I can tell you, it's been a few years now. I'll have to look onto my other video to find out how long ago. But I did a head gasket repair on her Magna, and she's still driving that. She hasn't had a problem. Kia, I did a head gasket repair on with the Liquid Intelligence, is still getting around. It's no longer owned by my other sister, but I see it's getting around still. Whether he's had a head gasket fixed on it or not, I don't know. But it's encouraging to see it driving around still. And, you know, the last time I had it was when I did the head gasket repair with the Liquid Intelligence. So that's anyone's guess there. My mate's daughter's car, I used Liquid Intelligence on that, and she's still driving around with it. My mate left the Liquid Intelligence in the cooling system. I told him that, you know, we should drain it out and put proper coolant in, but he's happy to leave the system with the Liquid Intelligence in it. More to the point, it doesn't have the anti-corrosion properties that to stop the car from corroding inside, the engine corroding inside, but my mate seems to be fine with that. He wants to just leave it alone. So it hasn't lost any coolant. He hasn't had to top it up any. A couple of times when I've gone over there, we've checked it, and the radiator's still full, so it's not using any water, so it's happy days. Also, another buddy of mine, his son's ute, he got stuck in Brisbane, so he drove it down slowly, having to pull over, let it cool down, add water, so forth. When he got down, we put Liquid Intelligence head gasket repair in that, and yeah, he's still driving that, so that's also encouraging. So I have full faith in Liquid Intelligence. That's why I do this. That's why I talk highly about them. If I didn't believe in them, I would be doing the other way. If you come to my channel, like, you've probably seen that I've left reviews on other products. Most of the time my reviews are about the bads, not the goods. I haven't had any bads with Liquid Intelligence, so I have 100% confidence in Liquid Intelligence. Other products I've used in this particular car I'm working on right now, I've got the Liquid Intelligence brake fluid in my car. I used to have a shuddering pulse all the time, and I had it for years and years. Every time I try to brake, it'd go da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and everyone was telling me it's this reason and that reason, whatever, and I was trying different things, nothing worked. After I told Peter about it, he sent over this Liquid Intelligence, and I did a complete brake bleed. I noticed a change straight away. When I pulled out of the yard and came to a brake, the shuddering wasn't as bad, but it took about a month before the shuddering was almost completely gone. And now there's no shuddering at all. It's perfect. And I drove around for years like that, and I'm so glad now that when I brake, I don't have that shuddering anymore. It's fantastic. Now also, in my van, I use Liquid Intelligence on every oil change. I put the Liquid Intelligence additive in. When I first bought the van, it had 6 different oil leaks. 2 of them I had to fix physically with a gasket and a seal. But the other leaks around the sump and so forth hasn't leaked since I've had the van, and it's been nearly 10 years. But in saying that, every time I do an oil change on the van, I also add the additive from Liquid Intelligence, and no problems. So that's another thing that's been fantastic. If I don't have any leaks to worry about, I'm very thankful. Also, in the same car that I'm working on right now, I've put the Liquid Intelligence 326 transmission fluid in. It helps with the gears changing smoother and so forth. What I had before was sticking gears. Every time I came to a stop, the car would shatter and stall because it wasn't downshifting through the gears. I had to use 2 treatments. The first time I used it, I noticed that the treatment did help the transmission get better, but it wasn't 100%. So I ran that for, I don't know, a couple of months, so probably about 200 Ks. And then when I did another transmission fluid change, I did a fresh load of the Liquid Intelligence, and now I don't have any problems at all. All right, so what you're seeing there, if the bubble's happening all the time, it was exactly the same results to the end. So I'm going to cut this short here, and we'll continue on to the part where I did a hot engine test. All right, the car's nice and hot. It's not the best weather right now. It's pretty wet out here. So it's going to take this cap off. I've already got the formula ready. Now get this ready and put it on before you put it on there. You saw the first part of the video, I put it on there first and then the level came right up. Doesn't do that because there's no pressure on the other side if you put this lid on first. I will remove this. Get one of these caps, they're brilliant. So you can release the pressure first before you go taking the cap off. You're not going to have any water exploding in your face. And we'll see what happens here now. Definitely a different reaction to last night, eh? Alright, I'll just stop this here and I'll give that a few minutes to see if it gives me any results. Okay, it's been 7 minutes and it's still red. It's still pacing at the same bubble coming out. So I don't have a blown head gasket, that's for sure. Okay, so now this thing here, if you want to know to take it out while the car's running or turned off, doesn't matter. If I take it out right now, it's not going to get any of that liquid into my reservoir, not into the system. But if I turn the car off, the cooling down is going to suck that coolant back in, and that's neither here or there because that small percentage of fluid there mixed with what's already in my system is like 0.1%. It's not really, not anything to be stressed about. Okay, should be able to hear me a little bit better now. So that's the colour there. It looks exactly the same as when I first put it in. Now I don't know if I can rebottle that and use it again, or once it's used, that's it. I can't use it again. So I'll give Peter a buzz and see what he says. But like I always say, when in doubt, give Peter a shout. So the good thing is I don't have a blown head gasket, and I'll have to inspect what's going on further in. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.